So can you believe that we're actually near the end of this first month already? Like in a couple weeks, we are literally 1/12 of a way through the new year. And yeah, time really moves pretty fast. So if you are trying to do anything, it's time to step it up and move faster. But today we are talking about social imposter syndrome. I'm pretty sure this is something that we all experience from time to time, especially when we're in a transitional period where we are currently learning something and we are trying to grow in a particular area. But then every time when we're out there, it feels like we're pretending to be someone else because it doesn't really feel like part of us. This kind of mentality kind of happens when we really feel like we're going to get somehow exposed. Over time, when we're talking to someone, suddenly we make a mistake, or we just feel like the person's just going to suddenly flip on us and then we are out of the picture. That is the feeling of social imposter syndrome. And the thing is, this kind of thing kind of really prevents us from sharing who we really are. Because if every single thing that we share, we might feel like there's a potential to kind of drive people away, or we're constantly putting on this mask. We feel like if we take that mask off, it's game over. And that is not exactly something we want. Moreover, whenever you are wearing this type of mask or you feel this way, we're not going to reach for all the great opportunities that are out there because we're just like, I'm pretending to be someone else, and if I go and reach for a great opportunity, then I'm going to feel even worse about myself because the higher you go, the harder you fall. And maybe sometimes you feel like, it's probably to never ever have experienced that because the pain will be too strong. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and of course the bell. So the outline this time, we will be going over through 1. Why exactly do I feel this way? 2. How do you not to improve? Yeah, it's kind of weird, but there are ways that people are trying and it just doesn't work. And 3. How exactly do you improve? So the first aspect is, why exactly do I feel this way? This feeling of imposter syndrome. And one of the reasons is we don't really feel like we are deserving of the spot that we are given, especially in the social society. So one of the factors that is really affecting social imposter syndrome is the fact that we haven't been in community for a good amount of time. And when we are not, then we don't really know how other people are thinking about us. And for us as people, we're constantly looking around, we're trying to assess where exactly is our place in the group. And once we know that value, then we can start to understand our worth. And this kind of doesn't work out if we have no idea how other people are thinking. And all we're going to do is think about the fact that it's going to be the worst possible place that we are in the social ladder. Plus, if socially you already have a bunch of bad experiences about going up and talking to people and then they not responding the way that you want them to, or they just like walked away or ignored you for whatever reason, that's further going to make things worse because you're going to doubt yourself whenever you go out there and try to talk to people. For self-doubt, I talked about 2 different types of self-doubt in a different video, so I'm not going to explain all of that over here. So if you want to, you can check that out. These kind of self-doubt, it's kind of weird because they kind of gnaws at you, especially in the back of your mind. And it literally turns like people that you're talking to in your mind against you. And you start to feel that maybe for whatever reason, things will just not work out. Or people are just gonna find you really annoying, or they're just bearing with you until they can go away, and they're not actually interested in talking to you as a person. That is what self-doubt does to you. And are these things actually happening? I would say most of the time, if you do talk to people, you'll find out they're not even thinking about those things. They're just going on and moving on with their lives. And with this kind of self-doubt, it really becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Because If all your focus is on is what kind of mistakes am I making, when exactly am I going to fail, you can't really answer that question without only looking at the mistakes that are possibly happening. So this is your self-fulfilling prophecy. I see that I'm going to fail, and then it happens for whatever reason. And you have to go ahead and disprove this and combat it so that it doesn't affect your mind as much. Another bad habit that comes with this whole process is the constant need for affirmation. Because let's say if I'm going around and I feel really bad about myself as a person and I think I'm like a clown. Whenever I'm talking to people, I want to see and understand that other people don't see me as a clown, so I feel better about myself. But I don't really know that, so I have to constantly ask people and say, hey, do you think I look like a clown? Do you think I look like a clown? And they have to constantly assure me that I don't look like a clown. So that's kind of the thing that comes with it, because if you're doubting yourself, this becomes a natural question that's in your mind and you constantly need to have it answered. So now that we have seen what exactly social imposter syndrome is and what kind of causes it, now let's get into how exactly do you not try to improve the situation. First, one of the things that I would definitely not recommend is the use of drugs or alcohol. And when I'm saying drugs, it kind of covers things like marijuana or like herbs, different things that could really help you relax. And I'm not a doctor, so I'm not giving any professional medical advice. If you are feeling like you want to take any stance regarding this aspect of like using drugs or anything, please consult a professional and let them examine your body and see like, oh, is this actually a good thing for you to take, or is it recommended or not? Like medications, I feel like it definitely has its place, but what it's really doing is it's using chemicals to influence our body on a physiological level. And that doesn't really solve a mental problem. That's kind of in my opinion. And I feel like the more you use it, it really becomes like you feel like it's the only solution for you, because it's the only thing that has happened that will only make your life better in any sort of way, and nothing else has helped because it feels like nothing's gonna work. The second way is don't really try to forcefully fake confidence. And I'm not talking about like subtle behavioral change which will cause you to really start to reshape who you are. I'm talking about like you take all that and you just put a mask over it and you try to mask yourself by behaving like you're like confident and just ignoring all the inside feelings of who you are as a person and just hoping that everything will change. In a way, this is kind of like a more extreme version of imposter syndrome, where you just take a mask and you push it to the extreme, but then whenever you take that mask off, you'll still feel horrible about yourself, and now you have a bigger, I guess, person to live up to, because that's the person you have projected yourself to be, and the fear of getting found out just escalates. And the thing is, this thing doesn't exactly work, because as people can see how you feel about yourself. The way that we move, our body language, the way that we speak, everything can be an indicator of how exactly does this person feel about themselves. So that's why one of the things to change or to notice about yourself is body language. And when people see that your body language and what you are portraying about yourself doesn't add up, they're gonna have some questions inside of their head and saying like, why exactly is this person not consistent? And on top of that, let's say if you do get away with it, you might be able to fool someone for a moment, but that self-doubt inside of you will constantly eat up you inside of you whenever you are trying to talk to that person again. Because the inside you, it doesn't change. Nothing's being like improved at all. All that's happening is that you are putting yourself as a better person than who you think you are. Another mistake is trying to copy what other people are doing. Like, let's say if you see someone and then this person is really attractive and you try to do things exactly the way that that person does to get friendships. That's probably not going to work. Or if you see this person who is a very talented guitarist or a singer and you try to do things a similar way this person does, that's probably not going to work either, because everyone is different. And because when these people are talking to other people, their attributes are shined in a different way. So if you are coming as someone that doesn't have those attributes and have something else, then it's going to come off as very different. And the way that you interact with people and make friends will have to be in a different way. It's not inferior, it's just that you can't exactly do the same things that other people do if what you are approaching with is your strength is in a different aspect. And another thing with this is if you are trying to copy someone else and other people can see that, then you won't really feel genuine. And the thing is, other people can also see that you don't really feel that genuine about yourself, and that inconsistency will throw people off in terms of, do I really want to make friends with this person? Because this person feels like they are really trying to imitate someone else and not really showing who they really are. Another thing is really trying hard but having no path. So think about it this way. Whenever you're going through a school curriculum, they're going to give you like a textbook or something. And inside the textbook, there are all different lessons that you will learn inside that textbook. And by the end, when you finish, you are able to do certain things, like be able to draw a triangle or do like sine, cosine, like different things that you will be able to accomplish after you have finished the book. Learning social skills isn't any different. If you don't really have a curriculum, something to walk you through, no path, and you're trying to learn bits and pieces about the whole entire textbook without having the textbook, that's kind of a problem, because you don't really understand if you're doing these things right, you don't have practice problems, you don't have like lessons explaining to you what exactly is the cause for certain things. So everything is just kind of like a jumble. Is there a chance that you can figure it out? Yeah, but if you had the textbook, wouldn't it be so much easier? And a lot of times what people are trying to do is, I'm just going in and I'm just going to try hard, but doing the same things or trying to do the same things when they are actually just little variations and doesn't help or improve the circumstance. This is why if you're starting out, I really recommend you that you invest in one particular system or particular path for you to improve on social skills. The example that I will use is like, if you're just starting to learn how to cook, then you don't try to cook like French cuisine and like Chinese cuisine, at the same time, because if you try to learn both of them, something's gonna mess you up. Like about how you use the pans, or do you use like butter here, or like different sauces that you have to mix. If you're a pro, you already have your basics down, go for it. But if you're just starting out, don't try to do too many things at once or mix everything together. Everything's just going to be even more confusing. So that's why having a path really helps you. So now let's talk about how exactly do you improve. In short, you need experience. Because let's say you are in the kitchen and you are trying to cut an apple because you feel like eating apples today. And accidentally, you let the knife graze your finger. And the knife is really sharp, so you started bleeding. You're like, oh dang it, man, this freaking hurts. I don't really want this to happen again. You wash it off, you put a band-aid around it, and it's all good. But inside your mind, you're like, I need to really be careful around knives. And you become extra cautious every time you see a knife. And you might never want to actually touch a knife again because of that experience. And so negative. So once you have this experience, knife, just by default, the first thing that comes up is knife, bad, bad knife. And the only way to go about changing this is through having good experiences with the knife. So let's say you decide to hire a chef, a teacher, to help you learn how to cut. And you learn the different techniques and you have never cut yourself again. And more than that, you're able to cut and make wonderful dishes and you taste them and they taste great. And you're like, wow, a knife is really useful. I can really use my knife for a lot of different things, and as long as I'm careful with it and I know the different techniques of how to handle a knife, it is a good thing. So knife, good knife. Now let's take this into a social context. Positive experience works the same way. So if you're feeling self-doubts about yourself, the best way to do it is by getting small successes. Don't look for home runs. Look for small steps and small successes that you can fall back on so that you can really feel that, oh, okay, the social context is actually not that scary. I can actually do this. And the knife is actually not so scary anymore. And how exactly do you get the ability to get these successes? It's education. And I'm not talking about like going to school. Part of me does kind of feel like school should teach some degree of like interacting with people. I think it will kind of help, but they don't. So here, the education is on learning as much as possible about people interacting with each other. Read about them, study about them, watch videos about them, like what you're doing right now, in order to improve your situation. And once you have understood enough knowledge around the area, it kind of demystifies the uncertainties that you're thinking. And when you understand and you have certainty, there's no longer anything to be afraid or to be scared of. And that removes part of that self-doubt when you're approaching someone and talking to them. So that is it about social imposter syndrome. It's something that really kind of affects you and ruins your chances about just talking to people, because it kind of prevents you from reaching out for the best. And it merely makes you doubt yourself every time you have any form of success. And what it really is, it feels like garbage inside of your room or something. And every time you don't take out that garbage, then it starts to really pile up. It kind of stinks, but you need to have that garbage dumped so that you can have a clean and nice room again. I don't know if that's a great analogy, but hopefully you get what I'm saying. But that's it. If you like this video, you can like, subscribe, comment, share. That's right. And that's it. I'll see you guys.